I think these are our very first in 3 years in-person announcements.
I'm sitting here looking at all these people, and I'm tongue-tied. I've got stage fright. I've done this in front of so many people. This is frightening, isn't it? Couple quick announcements. A ring was found by the janitor on a windowsill here in the meeting house. If anybody's lost a ring, let Donna Morris know. And I'm going to have to read this one. Care Day, Volunteer Day, is Friday afternoon, Sunday morning. There'll be a Saturday morning and Friday afternoon? Okay. There'll be a list of tasks in the Tuesday perspective. Talk to Donna if you have questions. Or you lost a ring.
Oops. On behalf of the Safety Committee, I want to just go over the mask policy. Masking is optional throughout our area and next door, except for the last 4 rows in the pews and upstairs in the balcony, masks are required. And if you could let the people that are sitting in the masked areas leave first if they want to, so that they can feel more at ease. Seems like there was one other thing, but I can't remember.
When you let the people in the back leave first?
Yes, I just said that. Oh, I know. And no singing in those areas, too. Thank you.
Hey everybody, on May 24th, there's going to be a rip-snorting good time with a duo, oh, good to see you, from Prince Edward Island. So many of you would have seen Gordon Belcher here before when we've hosted them. He's with a new fiddle player, and she's extraordinary. And so it's going to be just a foot-tapping, joyous time. I'm really going to try to open this to the public. It will be in this building on May 24th. So would love for you to bring your friends and just have a great time. And one announcement, there was a found ring. That's great. I lost my whole cache of keys 2 weeks ago when I did the laughter service, and it's really not funny at this point. It's very debilitating. So if anybody knows anything from that day, please let me know.
Good morning again, and welcome to First Parish Unitarian Universalist of Northborough, Massachusetts. We Unitarian Universalists are a non-creedal, religiously liberal faith tradition. We hold in our worship and in our faith formation that each individual and each community will explore a wide and varied set of beliefs and ideas that encourage us to live life as a spiritual journey, deepening our connections to compassion, justice, and an understanding of eternal truth. I am Reverend Abigail Stockman. I am one of the interim co-ministers here, and I serve with my colleague, Reverend Misty Dawn Shelley. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to be in touch with either of us. This morning, however, we are truly blessed to have a guest preacher, the Reverend Dr. Roger Jones. He is one of the co-ministers of equal standing at the Unitarian Universalist Society of Sacramento, California, where he served since 2008. He serves on the boards of his Unitarian Universalist district, the area YMCA, and a medical center's chaplaincy training program. He has degrees from Indiana University, Meadville Lombard Theological School, and Pacific School of Religion. And having known him now for at least 25, and I think more, years, he's being very humble. He has served our association in multiple ways over these 25 years in roles of leadership and has made a huge difference in the life of Unitarian Universalism in all the areas he served, as well as his colleague ministers. So we are community in multiple locations, so if we can just take a moment to greet one another, those of us on Zoom and those of us in the meeting house, until the chime is rung. If we can wave hello.
Good morning. I'm really happy to be here, and I appreciate that generous introduction by Abigail. And welcome to you if you're here on Zoom or you're here in the room. It's great to be together. Our call to worship comes originally from the Hebrew Scriptures, the book of Deuteronomy, with adaptations by two UU ministers. We build on foundations we did not lay. We warm ourselves by fires we did not light. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. We drink from wells we did not dig. We profit from persons we did not know. We are ever bound in community. May it always be so. This is as it should be. Together we are more than any one person could be. Together we can build across the generations. Together we can renew our hope and our faith in the life that is yet to unfold. This morning, let us gather in hope and in faith.
Good morning. For the chalice lighting this morning, the words are by Dr. Jones for this chalice lighting this morning. I'll start and then responsive reading, you respond. The words are in the order of service. We kindle this flame, the symbol of our shared search for truth and understanding. In times of celebration, may its brightness reflect our gratitude. In times of need, let its warmth renew our connections to one another in spirit of life. In times of change, let its light illuminate our values. I'm not sure I'm supposed to say this, but as you're able, stand for the singing of hymn 126, I think is next. Is that right?
The reading for the service today comes from the Hebrew Scriptures. It's a paraphrase of passages from the book of Genesis about a famous family of the Hebrew Bible. Isaac and Rebekah had two sons, Jacob and Esau. The tradition was that the firstborn male child would have the birthright and would inherit the father's property. This was true even if the sons were twins, as were Esau and Jacob. While Rebekah was pregnant, she could feel the kids wrestling in the womb. Jacob grabbed at his brother's heel, but even so, he couldn't prevent Esau from emerging first into the world. The boys grew up, and Esau became a hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was content to stay at home. Their father Isaac had a taste for wild game, and he favored Esau, the firstborn. Rebekah favored the second one, Jacob. The brothers grew up into men. One day, when Jacob was cooking some red lentil stew, Esau came in from the open country. He was very hungry. He said to Jacob, "Quick, let me have some of that stew. I'm starving." Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright." "Look, I'm going to starve to death," Esau said. "What good is a birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore an oath to him, selling his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread and some lentil stew. He ate and drank and then got up and left. Many years later, when their father Isaac had become an old man and was nearly blind, he called his elder son Esau. "My son." "Yes, father." "I'm an old man. I might die any day now. Do me a favor. Go out into the country and hunt me some game. Then fix me a hearty meal and bring it to me to eat so that I can give you my personal blessing before I die." Overhearing this, Rebekah took the formal clothing of her older son, Esau, and put it on her younger son, Jacob. Because Esau was a hairy man, Rachel used goatskins to cover Jacob's hands and the smooth nape of his neck. Then she placed a hearty meal which she had fixed and fresh bread which she had baked into the hands of her son, Jacob. He went to his father. "My father." "Yes," Isaac said. "Which son are you?" Jacob answered his father, "I'm your firstborn son, Esau. I did what you told me. Come now, sit up and eat this meal so that you can give me your personal blessing." "So soon?" Isaac said. "How did you get it so quickly?" "Oh, Father, your God cleared the way for me." Isaac said, "Come close, let me touch you. Are you really my son Esau?" Jacob moved close to his father. Isaac felt him and said, "The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau." He didn't recognize him because his hands were hairy like Esau's. "You're sure you are my son Esau?" "Yes, I am." Isaac said, "Bring me the food so I can eat and give you my personal blessing." Jacob brought it to him and he ate. He also brought him wine and he drank. Then Isaac said, "Come close, son, and kiss me." He came close and kissed him. Isaac smelled the smell of his clothing. Finally, he blessed him. "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of the open country, blessed by God. May God give you of heaven's dew and earth's bounty of grain and wine. May peoples and nations honor and serve you. You will master your brothers, and your mother's sons will honor you. Those who curse you will be cursed, and those who bless you will be blessed." This was Isaac's blessing of Jacob. Then Jacob left him, and right away Esau showed up from the hunt. He had prepared a hearty meal. He came to his father and said, "Let my father get up and eat of his son's game, and then he may give me his personal blessing." His father Isaac said, "And who are you?"
Our financial offering each week is shared between the general operating fund of this church and a designated nonprofit organization. In the month of May, our half plate is shared with Veterans, Inc. Veterans, Inc. is the largest provider of support services to veterans and their families in New England. Since 1990, they have helped more than 90,000 veterans in need and today operate offices and programs in all 6 New England states, Montana and North Dakota. Veterans, Inc. is determined to provide what veterans need with a culture that affirms the individual's dignity, uncovers his or her inner strengths, and promotes self-determination and independence. Let us also take this moment to give thanks for the generosity of all during our annual financial donation pledge campaign, which has exceeded our goal and our stretch goal. Many thanks to Alan Brooks and Jeannie Cahill, who ran this campaign this year. May we continue to be as generous as we are able. The offering for the work of this congregation and the work of will now be gratefully received.
And unfortunately, in some ways, it's gotten, I think, too intense. It's one of the music, so we have to.
this all over again. This is called Au bord du ruisseau by Henriette Grenier. And when it comes out right, it should sound like you're sitting next to a little running brook.
Wow, there's my joy. That was amazing. A personal joy. And so since I've seen this harp in the background, when Abigail was here during Judith's sabbatical, I've always wanted to hear that. Wow, thank you so much, Abigail. That was fantastic. The sharing of personal joys and
I invite you now to join me in a time of centering and then prayer. First, taking a few deep breaths together. Let's take a deep inhale breath and pause briefly and then exhale deeply. And now let us notice our bodies where they rest, our feet where they rest. Notice the weight of our hands. Notice our physical presence. Now, for a second time, let us breathe in deeply, pause, and then breathe out deeply with a sigh. And now, on this third and final time, after we breathe in and pause, let us breathe out with a sigh, full of our spirit. As we continue breathing together, let us give thanks for the breath of life lifting our bodies up and out. Let our breathing remind us that we are connected, that we belong to one another, to this community, to the human family, and to the family of all beings. Join me now in the spirit of openness and connection as I offer these words of prayer. O Spirit of life and life's renewal, refresh our hearts and restore our strength for this day and for the days to come. In a world which needs peace, compassion, and courage, help us to let go of the distractions, self-doubt, and fears which keep us from bearing witness to the values which call us forward. Help us to act, give, speak, and live out of an open heart of courage, trust, and love. So may it be. Blessed be, and amen. Thank you. Thank you. Again, it's good to be with you. Thank you for your hospitality, and thank you to your minister, Abigail, for her hospitality and friendship over 28 years. Although it, as Chris mentioned, 25 since she played the harp at my ordination. And congratulations on the success of your generous pledge drive results for the support of your mission. Get your finances in order. So read the headline in a newspaper's business and money section several years ago. It was the 1st of January, New Year's Day. The article gave us a checklist: reduce debt, watch your spending habits, and get a discipline of saving money. Practical, important help. However, beneath getting your finances in order is everyone's complicated relationship with money. This is a spiritual issue, and like other spiritual issues, it can't be taken care of by New Year's resolutions and checklists alone. It takes practice, patience, and honesty. Nearly every religion or faith tradition has something to say about money, wealth, possessions, and resources, how we get them, use them, and share them. Liberal religious communities, like this one, affirm the importance of this life more than some future life. We do not dwell on otherworldly concerns, but on how we live in the world as it is. As a medium of exchange, money is one way that we connect with the world. It's been an important part of my ministry and my own personal growth to pay attention to the relationship between money and our spiritual lives. I believe that we need to pay more attention to this relationship. If we don't pay attention to it, we risk ignoring the power and place of money in our lives. We risk confusing money with our self-worth and our sense of possibility. In relationships, we risk seeing money or using it as a substitute for love, or as an expression of our hurt or hostility. We need to pay attention, be honest, and show some patience with ourselves. For the next few minutes, I'd like to invite you to go with me on a visit home, back to where I grew up in the Midwest. It was several years ago now. It was a visit to see my relatives. In the year prior to this visit, an aunt has passed away. My uncle, her husband, had died suddenly many decades earlier when I was 5, the same age as their son. After my uncle's death, my aunt moved herself and her son far away from our state. I hadn't seen her for decades before her death. On this day, in my hometown, I'm visiting 3 other relatives, 2 cousins and their mother. "Did you get your money?" one of them asks. I look puzzled. I didn't know what they were talking about. "Didn't you get the letter from the lawyer?" "No," I say. They tell me all about it. My late Uncle Roy's estate had included an amount of money to be left for all of his nieces and nephews, money to be dispersed if any of it would remain after his widow would pass away. Now she has. So every group of children of my uncle's brothers and sisters would get a lump sum of $48,000 to be divided among them in equal checks. This means that a family of 3 siblings will share a bequest, getting $16,000 each. A family of 2 siblings would get $24,000 each, and a lucky only child will get the full $48,000. I express my surprise at this news. They go get the letter and bring it to me. I read through it. I look at the list of names, my various groups of cousins, my older brother, everyone in my generation except me. "I'm not listed here," I say. "Well, honey, you weren't even born yet when he wrote that will." "Yes, I was," I say. "I was 5 when he died, the same age as his son, and he's listed here." I think, surely I was too young for Uncle Roy to conclude that I was a bad nephew and leave me out on purpose. He just forgot me. "What are you going to do?" one of them asks, getting excited and curious and nosy. "Well, I'm not sure," I say. "I guess I'll ask my brother about it. Anyway, it's only money." For the rest of the visit, we make small talk, but all the while my mind is racing. Let's see, with my brother, each of us should receive $24,000, but I won't. I was left out. Did my brother get this letter? I got here yesterday and stayed with him, and he hasn't said anything about it. Is he hiding this from me? I need to ask him. The cousins in the room tell me about a recent phone call they received from another cousin about this money. That cousin, an only child, is the most outwardly successful and accomplished person in our generation of the family. Yet in spite of a great career and a two-person household income, that successful relative never seems to have any money. And that person has been in touch with the other cousins about this money with this instruction: sign those papers quickly, return them to the lawyer soon, so the lawyer will forward the checks to us. I realize that neither this cousin nor any of the others will feel like including little old me in some revised calculations to receive some of that inheritance. The only chance rests in my big brother's hands. My reaction to this news of a surprise inheritance, a potential inheritance, is like not feeling hungry at all and then walking into a dining room with a table of steaming, great-smelling food. Suddenly I want everything. I get in my rental car and hit the highway to my brother's house. We've planned a dinner out, just the two of us. I think, I'll just wait and see if he brings this up. No, I need to get this over with. I'm worried because my brother has been worried about money. It's unrealistic in my opinion. He was able to retire early. His wife has a great job with benefits. Their house is paid off, and they own a vacation rental property in another state. However, at the time of this visit, we're in the Great Recession, and he has no confidence in the government, and the angry programs that he listens to on talk radio only add to his anxiety. Well, I won't make a big deal out of this. Fights over money can tear a family apart. Before today, I didn't even imagine having any more money than my own earnings and my own savings. I think, if he gives me half of that money, I'll just give most of it away. Yes, I will. As we heard in the book of Genesis, the brothers Jacob and Esau fight over their birthright, their inheritance. Esau, as the firstborn son, traditionally has a birthright. Yet after Esau returns from a hunting trip empty-handed, he's feeling very hungry. So hungry, in fact, that he accepts a bowl of red lentil stew from his brother Jacob on Jacob's terms. The terms are that Esau must give his birthright to Jacob. Esau trades in his future inheritance for the short-term gain of satisfying his appetite, satisfying his craving. Later on, the younger brother Jacob gets his mother's help to impersonate his older brother. He tricks his blind, aged father, Isaac, into giving the fatherly blessing to him instead of to Esau. In the story, this blessing cannot be taken back even after the stealing is exposed. This theft launches a tumultuous future for the Hebrew people. It sets a standard of disharmony for the whole human family. The first family feud over an inheritance. I don't want my brother and me to end up like those guys. I just want us to share. Now I'm in the kitchen in my brother's house. He's 12 years older, bigger and stronger than I am. He's standing, I'm sitting. I need to talk to you about something, I say. I tell him about my discovery, and I ask him if he's received or read this letter that I read at my cousin's house earlier in the day. No. Well, you will, I say. I explain the way the letter is written and the situation I find myself in and the humor of being the forgotten one. He doesn't get it. I avoid asking straight out, will you give me half of your money? I try to explain a little bit more. See, each set of siblings has to share a lump sum among themselves. And since there are two of us, each of us would get, oh, he says, Now he gets it. He pauses. Yeah, I'll give you some of that money if you're nice to me. I want to ask, what do you mean by some? How big a fraction is some? And what do you mean by nice? As a youth, I was not nice to my big brother. Looking back on my childhood, I see that I was taking out a lot of my frustration on him, even rage. I was angry at our parents. They were older than most other kids' parents, distracted by alcoholism, physically unhealthy and fragile. And as a boy, I was careful not to be a burden. My big brother was happy, athletic, and popular. A safe target for my hostility and strong enough to take it. And he took a lot of it from me. My brother married before finishing college against our angry father's insistence. After college, he was unemployed. He mowed lawns to make money, and he borrowed money from our parents. Our dad used this to make my brother feel bad. Every $100 loan was, and I told you so. This was the early 1970s when $100 was a lot of money. On my birthday one year, I got a windfall of cash, and by this time I was mowing lawns myself as well. So as an 11-year-old, I was feeling flush. My brother came to me and asked for a loan, $100. He didn't want to ask our dad again and risk more criticism and ridicule. I lent him the cash, and then I confirmed the terms of the loan by U.S. mail. At age 11, I really liked using the typewriter, and I would send him periodic statements of the debt that he owed me. And then I sent a postcard announcing, now past due. I don't recall if he paid me right away or called me names or got our mom to intervene and tell me to lay off him. It was not a nice way to treat him. I realize now that in pestering my brother like that, I was trying to make a connection with him. An awkward, hostile, counterproductive 11-year-old's way of connecting. When he moved closer to our home, he made money doing small engine repair in our shed, lawnmowers, motorbikes, and I served as his agent. I put ads in the local newspaper and I took phone calls from prospective customers, and he offered to pay me a small percentage for this role. So I would type up statements for my commission. I took business reply envelopes from our father's office and would use whiteout to change our dad's name to my own. I wrote to my brother to let him know what he owed me, $2 here, $3 there. Now he doesn't owe me anything, and there's an enormous check on its way to him. He can choose to split it with me, or he can quite legally choose to keep it all. Fortunately, my brother, the firstborn son, has not held a grudge about how mean and hurtful I had been as a kid. He apparently has granted me forgiveness for my mean behavior. But will he also grant me a full half of that money? He could say that he wants to save it for his own 2 children who have grown up and moved away. Money has such strong pull for us. It has such power. Of course it does. It is how we interact for the things we need and want, and for the talents and work that we have to offer. As a medium of exchange, money simplifies our transactions. Yet because it stands for so much that we need and want and love and fear, money makes life complicated. Most of us learn our habits regarding money from the habits and attitudes of the family culture in which we grow up. Growth and healing from unhelpful attitudes calls for attention, honesty, practice, and support. I still have some annoying personal habits around money, and I have my own share of anxieties about it, but in many ways I have healed and grown regarding money. The support for this growth about money and life has come from two main sources: my friends and my church communities. Friends who are generous no matter their wealth or poverty, and religious communities that remind me of the abundance and goodness of life. In a spiritual community like this one, I am reminded to appreciate my blessings and give thanks. I learn about the needs of our hurting world beyond these walls, and I learn about generosity. As a Unitarian Universalist, a layperson, and then a minister over the past 35 years, I have learned that it's possible to stretch myself to give deeply and to feel good about it. I can give of my money, my talents, and my time and feel joy in it, and freedom and purpose. I can also feel good about earning money. Feel gratitude not only to have it, but satisfaction that I have something to offer that people choose to support. But as a fearful child from a family that fought about money, I had no idea what it meant spiritually to be paid or to pay others, to give or to receive with ease and freedom. As a boy, I went with my mother on Sunday mornings to a mainline, middle-of-the-road kind of church. We paid a monthly pledge to the church, but I didn't learn what stewardship really meant. Back in the 1970s, when I was growing up, many churches were timid about the connection between money and our spiritual health. I drifted away from church involvement until I was 24, and I explored various congregations and eventually settled on UU congregations. And in the congregations I liked, I found people who looked at serious matters with honesty. And that included matters having to do with money and our relationship to it. I learned from them what stewardship means. And this is what it means to me. Stewardship means taking a good look at what has been handed on to you for your use and your care. Whether it's this whole wide earth, your country, your neighborhood, or your church, all of it is handed on to us for using, tending, sharing, and passing along to others. We rise on the shoulders of generations and institutions that existed before we did. We live for a moment in the stream of life, and it flows on. Stewardship is about connectedness and about interdependence. It's about belonging to one another, about belonging to the past and the future. As a new Unitarian Universalist as a young adult, I learned that there are people in these churches who have diverse ideas about religious questions, including the idea that we can't know if there's a God or what the nature of that God might be. Yet, people in our churches still have a spiritual practice of giving and sharing. From the lay leaders and the ministers in UU congregations I've been a part of, I learned the concept and received the encouragement to set a target of giving away to the larger world 10% of my annual income. To set that target and then to take steps toward that target over time. And now I give about 6% of my yearly gross income to the congregation and another 5% of my income to other causes and organizations that I care about. I didn't learn to do this from my family. I learned it from people like you. But my family did come through also, at least my big brother did. He eventually did give me a half share of that inheritance, but he dragged it out over time, sending 2 installments in the mail. I didn't send a bill this time. Fortuitously, the checks arrived around the time I began a graduate program for a Doctor of Ministry degree, and some of it helped with tuition. And then the congregation I served conducted a capital fundraising campaign for a building renovation project. And that was another good use for some of an unexpected gift. Nearly every religious tradition has something to say about money. Not because it's bad, and not because it's worthy of worship either. We should not idolize money, nor should we avoid it. But we can take it seriously. Like most resources, it is limited. Like our time, our attention, our talents, our health. It is limited and it is important. However much or however little we have of money, how we deal with it is a way to practice our sense of stewardship, which is our sense of relationship to others, to those in the past and those in the future. We can practice and we can strive to gain our money responsibly, receive it with gratitude, lend it or borrow it carefully, spend it thoughtfully, and share it with joy. Responsible, grateful, careful, thoughtful, joyful, joyful. So may it be. Blessed be, and amen. Our closing hymn is number 6. Just as long as I have breath, please rise as you're comfortable and sing together. For the benediction, I invite you to reach out to us, reach out to one another. If you're at home, reach out to us here, and we reach out to you. May you depart in peace and return in joy. For all who see God, may God go with you. For all who embrace life, may life return your affection. And for all who seek a right path, may a way be found and the courage to take it step by step, one day at a time. Blessed be. Amen.
Bye.